Oseo.
Oseo.
Cherokee greeting. Wave the great feather for the good of it. The mind itself is sacred. Feather is the thought making it so. This theme is Coyote honoring Turkey. The word Turkey actually comes from the country Turkey. Somehow the yarn goes, the English, I guess, were importing peasants or something from the country of Turkey. And somehow when the Englishmen came over to America, I don't know why, but they dubbed our indigenous bird with that name, and it goes on like that. Kuna in Cherokee and Salik in Navajo. Different regions here in Turtle Island had kind of different kind of turkeys. Back east in the woodlands, these turkeys were very big like this. And turkey feathers were really more favored for headdresses and things. This is a Cherokee feather wand. Wand means wave, to wave the feather. With this feather, you have all you need to be healthy and happy. So mostly we're talking about this bird, turkey, and we'll kind of stick with that name. Native Americans do not traditionally dine on turkey. Turkey is by nature a feral being. He's not susceptible to being tamed or domesticated and so forth. Actually, the bird that is being used for people's dining tables originates in Mexico. That is, these people, these ancient people of Mexico, we know, we call it the Aztec. They are the ones that experimented and experimented until they finally could create a bird, that could be domesticated, if we understand that, to be converted into poultry. So we would have to say the birds that we are using for dining here are originated with the Aztecs, so we can see that kind of thing. So if we have any kind of, qualms about eating this bird. Here in Native America, this bird is, if not sacred, certainly an honored being. Native America was totally personified. Everything in our world of Turtle Island is personified. And when we personify, imagination happens. And then I would say, and so does poetry. So you can see all that. In the story that I'm kind of going to relate to here, the word gods, singular or plural, is an English translation. Here in Native America, we're really concerned with, through and through, personified beings. And that these beings, some of them, real particular ones, do have characteristics, individual characteristics. Also, many of them also a location, or they're from a location. So we have a lot of that. So there's a lot of in-betweens, these more significant presences in that way. So I'll be referring to that. In Navajo, ye is the word that translates into God or gods for the English. And the piece that I'm going to refer to here, I'm going to talk it. It is really like a myth, like a story. It's embedded in the feather chant way. As a Atso Hatal. The Atso Hatal has this whole theme about a young man who, he's called a visionary. From youngsterhood or something, he has a lot of dreams and visions come to him, so he's rather called the visionary. And his sister also has a friendship, a relationship with a bird we're here calling the turkey. And Unanadu is the name of the turkey. So that all figures, those are the two main characters in this feather chant. In the ceremony for it, everybody's given a lot of feathers. So I have here the replica of the bird, Tadzi, with all of these feathers here. So everybody's given a lot of feathers. In the past, I remember I've given one to Johnny, a turkey feather, all like that. So they look something like this or like this. And you see this kind of feather here, can feature it here or here. You kind of look at it. Now, I made these some time ago, so the feathers are getting kind of old. This here is duplicating like a wand stick, a feather, like a prayer stick to put in the ground. And it's painted, blue or green with a light feather there. But why it is, you see up in the top, these are the cumulus clouds. And underneath of it is darkening, it's laden with rain. And then those stripes, are the sheets of rain coming down. So this is the prayer stick that's put into the ground to say the rain, come track the rain, kind of thing. So that's why those are important that way. Also, this bird that I've replicated here, this is from New Mexico, like archaeology. It has a name, like a mound, like an archaeology mound, and they excavated it, and they found a kiva in there. And on the kiva, there were these painted murals inside, and that's where this is from, that I've replicated here. It's very significant, and will be explained in the story I'll allude to. And here, this is also a tobacco pouch. That is a pouch carrying tobacco seeds, because the bird is bringing the gift of all these seeds, all kinds of seeds like that, like corn. So see, this kind of corn, the early corn, we lived in Arizona before all the people moved in there. And so there were a lot of ruins, and in the ruins we could find the remains of the corn. Now at that time, the corn's about that big. That's what it was. So they, evolved it, cultivated, and this is somewhere in between. I collected these. But what is called Indian corn actually looks like this here. Now this is Indian corn, all different colors here. And I'm showing this because I'm saying Native Americans cultivated the corn from really small grain to somewhere along the line looked like that to nowadays it looks like this, right? So that's really important that way. Well, here this is a tobacco pouch to signify, like here, the gift of tobacco seeds. This one I have spirit tobacco in here, for that. And this piece here is going to figure, I'm explaining all these things kind of beforehand. The river that's figured in here is the San Juan River that runs northern Arizona and up into Utah and down over into western New Mexico. And that's kind of the boundary of the Navajo country we call Tinata. So it's like that. And so that's what's featured in this piece that I'm referring to. Over east, it's like kind of where Arizona and New Mexico meet. Not real clear there. But that's where the character, the visionary, is going to go. That's his destination. And there, what's interesting is that this is a story or myth that actually has a real location, at least to the people who, in the culture, who participated in that. So there are these cliffs that come out kind of pointed like this. I'm not sure, like I said, it's right there on the border of Arizona and New Mexico. And there are these paintings, there's these paintings on them. And mostly they look like they refer to this myth. So it has variously things that look like turkeys and so forth. There is a sand painting that goes with this in the ceremony. It's called the Whirling Log, which is really a feature that takes place in this story. And I don't have that sand painting with me right now. But to Americans, it looks like a swastika because these gye are standing on each end of it. And it gives that cross and it makes it look like that because it's whirling really. And why I'm referring to that, because there's incidents in these paintings on the, kind of called cliff walls like that. The best one is this one I've replicated here, like this. Because this is one of the Ye, and I put on my glasses so I can, read it. This is again from the Feather Way Hatal. The turkey bird companion of the visionary is here being transformed into a sacred, semi-sacred bird by the supernatural Ye. His name is Ganziri Aka, meaning humpback, like a hunchback, and he's got the hunchback. He also personifies the bighorn sheep. So he's also from the place that's called sheep tail stringing out. So he's from a location, and humpback means he got seeds in here. And here is the bird. He's being transformed. You see his fingers? He's going like this. This is a symbol for transform, to transform, turn to, like that. So that's what he's doing, and he's changing this bird into a magic bird full of seed. So this is very, very interesting here. And turkey tracks. And all through Native America, turkey tracks are very significant, kind of showing us the way it goes. So these are all figured in paintings on this called cliff walls here. And the story ends with a soliloquy. So I will refer to that when I come to this. I'm not going to tell the story, I'm going to just talk about it like that. So what's happening is evidently this visionary, where the San Juan goes way up north, this is somehow where he lives with his mother and his sister. And his sister somehow has this bird with her. There's a film out about a man who lived with the turkeys and how he made a relationship with the turkeys, and you can definitely see, the turkeys are real people. I lived up by Point Reyes some time ago, and up there are turkey farms. And the boys where I was living, I never went to the turkey farms, but they worked on the turkey farms and told me how emotional it is, because it says, you're like being with people who are in jail. They're like real people, like that. And sometimes I could hear them if the wind was right, like that. So it's really considering that they are more like people, like that. So that's what figures in all of this. So what happened is the visionary has a dream where something has prompted him wanderlust. And so he gets the idea that he's going to travel on the San Juan River to another land, another country. So, he has to kind of muse on that, and he somehow finds an old log and begins to, fool around with it like he's going to, transport himself in that. Well, the Gye, to realize there are people with us all the time. They're watching us all the time. They exist for our needs. And when we are, amenable to that, they do respond. They do respond. And so that's what happens. These Gye are seeing the lad, figuring out how to make the seaworth, and they see it's not really going to work. So they decide to come in and make one for him. So it's all very detailed, how that they cut down a tree and how the lightning, hollows it out, and they have all details, it's practically a whole story in itself, how that they make all this. And once that they make all of this, they even make a bed in there for him. They even figure out, what kind of food or drink he's going to have, while he's in this. It all reminds me of the Yellow Submarine. It's pretty close, Then they have a real problem of even how to get it from wherever it's laying on the ground over to the river. So, so they have various of these Gye who have to figure out, trial and error, how to get it over to the river and then get him into it. So then it begins to, move. And then, the episodes, it has all kinds of encounters. There are water monsters that pull it down, and, eddies that catch it up, like that. And all these, involve these Ye to help them out one way or another. Sometimes they have to make offerings to the beings in the water who are not going to let the log go through, And so it goes through all of this sort of thing, like that. It's all quite an episode. Again, all this is embedded in the feather chant way. Remember all the feather here. So eventually it comes down. It's probably pretty close to New Mexico by now, and there's some kind of a lake. Somehow the waters converge into some kind of a lake, and there's a kind of whirlpool there. It's going like that. So it is a single log now, but then when it goes here in this whirlpool, it starts swirling around. That's why they call it the whirling log. It's whirling around. And in the sand painting, if I showed it to you, the way they're figuring that would be like, it would look like a cross. And that these Ye stand on each end to try and balance it out, So finally, they get it to even out and scoot it over to the shore. So now the visionary, he can disembark, now he's ashore, and he's looking at a totally strange land, like that. And then off he hears, gobble, 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 gobble. Now here comes that turkey. He somehow magically got over there. He's kind of a magic bird. So he kind of comes over there, like that. And by now, of course, the lad is, this has really been quite an ordeal, not an easy voyage at all. Some chantways make it even harder than it is, than you would need to be to make the chant more complicated. So he's kind of tired out by now. So now the bird, he puts his wing over him. Here he is here to comfort him. So you're beginning to get, this compassionate aspect of the bird, of the turkey. So he shelters him like that. Here in my illustration here, this is the wing, the protecting wing. And down here in the Navajo, there's the word for shade, shadow, or a ramada. Ramada is chaha'o. Chaha'o means to protect. That's what this is signifying from that. To shelter, to protect, like that. So then, the next day, like that, he gets up and he's refreshed. Now, the bird is going to shake out all these seeds, because evidently the lad can know enough to see, well, this land looks pretty good, pretty fertile, like that. And this is the way of introducing to agriculture. So all of these seeds, he's shaking out of his wing like that. And like I said, here, this is also the gift of the tobacco seed. That's why he has that there. That's the gift. And then, so now what am I going to do with this? Well, the turkey actually makes a kind of design in the ground with his tracks like that to show you how to plant these things, how to plant these things. So that's all, that's how it goes. Eventually what it is, he sees somebody, a light or something up a little bit north there. And he goes to investigate, and he meets the damsel, a young woman. And she somehow invites him to her lodging. She actually lives with her father. Her father's a kind of a sorcerer. He's called Deer Owner. He got some antlers like that. And he's not, all that friendly, nice guy kind of thing, so you want to watch out for him. It turns into another little episode there that I'm not going to go into. But the edge of it is that the visionary gains hunting knowledge from him. So now he's been there a little while, and now he says, oh, I got to go back to my turkey, back to my, field. And he goes back there, and the turkey is not there anymore. He has left.
He flew the coop.
Flew the coop. And so that's where we come to this. this is a soliloquy, and it's almost like, you know, as if he was composing a letter. You know, he sits down and this is what he's, you know, saying to himself, to you, the audience here. Dear Una Danuti, you were the black cloud, the black mist, the beautiful rains, the beautiful lightning, the beautiful rainbow, the beautiful corn of all colors, the beautiful being. In the days to come upon the earth, the people shall employ your feathers with their rituals. That's what he said. And we're saying here, Unaduni flew to the east from whence it had come, and all the useful and beautiful things that the visionary saw in the turkey are still to be seen in the bird. The black of the black mist and the black of cloud are there. The flash of lightning and the gleam of the rainbow show up on its plumes as she walks in the sun. The rain in its beard and the bean it carries in its forehead. The turkey is sacred by its self-giving, for which it embodies the giving of gratitude for our respect. Aho.
Aho.